What we're looking at today is the Stihl HSA 56 hedge trimmer. Now this hedge trimmer comes with an AK10 battery, which is a 36 volt 2 amp hour battery. So really the important thing to know about the size and how long this will last is the amp hours, and that's 2 amp hours. It comes with a neat display on here. You can click the button, see how much charge you have left. Kind of a nice package, seems durable. Then of course comes with the battery charger. Again, Stihl doesn't disappoint here. This is relatively heavy duty, seems like it will last the length of the tool at least. Now, battery technology, the developments have really enabled us to use this lawn and garden equipment with these cordless power sources, and they've come a long way. This has a 20-inch bar on it, capable of shearing a 3/8 inch branch. So fairly heavy duty for that size battery. This kit retails for $250, which is a decent amount of money for a specialty tool. But really what we're buying here is not a tool, in my opinion. What we're buying is time. And will this tool get the job done quicker? And is it worth this $250 to get some time back? We're gonna do a deep review here and see if that's the case. Believe it or not, I've been using this manual shear for the last 15 years. Let's try out that electric trimmer. Now the first thing we have to do before we use it is to charge our battery here. So we just plug our charger in, slide our battery into place. Pretty nice unit here. Wait till the battery fully charges. This ships without a charge, and there's a very good reason for that. We've all heard about lithium ion batteries bursting into flames and taking down planes and other things. If you ship it without a charge, the likelihood of that happening is much reduced, so it comes to you dead. As a side note, the person in the store helping me out purchase this item says that's the #1 reason these tools come back to the store, is that because people put the battery in right away, try to test it out, and they say, hey, it doesn't work. Well, that's because the battery has no charge. So in my case, it took about 2 hours to charge the battery up fully. There's the nice gauge on the front, you can tell when it's done, and the green light comes on the charger here. So, ready to roll now. Let's start with an easy one here. These are rocket barberries. They've got a lot of branches, but they're very fine. They've got nasty little thorns on them though, but that shouldn't bother us with this. So there's a lot of branches to cut, but they're fine, so this should cut through it like butter. Let's see how that does. That worked pretty darn good. Our battery still has a full charge. Cut through it like butter. Versus the hand piece, it's much easier to shape the bush better, having that 20 inches long and be able to control it very nicely. My first observation, the hardest thing with using it is to make sure to remember to push this thumb trigger or thumb safety. You'll be pulling the trigger, wonder why you can't go. It's normally this thumb trigger, but again, I don't want to cut off any fingers, so I'm okay with that. Let's keep going, see how long this battery lasts, and if it can get around to all of our bushes around the house and trim them up for winter. On the actual tool, we've got a battery slot right in the middle of this. This is strategically placed to put the weight of the battery and balance the tool out. Like I say, the overall form factor is pretty good. This seems like it will last a decent while. So we slide the battery in, push it down firmly, locks into place. When we need to get it out for charging, there's a little button here that you press, pops up, take it out. Pretty nice design. I've taken it in and out a few times, hasn't jammed. I don't think there's any risk of it breaking. Again, these are plastic parts. You have to be a little bit careful with them. For my purposes, this should last me a long time. Now, of course, it comes with this nice guard for the bar here. And on the actual unit here, we've got a couple different safety devices. Obviously, if you were to put your fingers anywhere on this bar and it were to turn on, it would have a good chance of lopping them off, since it can take off a 3/8 of an inch branch. So we've got a switch on the bar here to make sure your left hand is in place, or your right hand, depending on how you want to use it. And then on the actual trigger mechanism, we've got a thumb and a palm grip on the trigger. Once you've got all those actuated, you can operate the device, which is a smart idea. We don't want to lose any fingers. Well, so far this HSA 56 is cutting through these barberries no problem. Even some of the thicker, woodier pieces I haven't cut for a few years. I don't have to stop and get a different tool. Just put this thing on it. Here's an example of one of those right here. Probably about a 1/2 inch. No, not a 1/2 inch. 1/4 to 3/8, cut right through it, no problem. So that is ideal. We want it to save time, and if we got to go get a different tool to finish the job, that wouldn't be any good. So I really appreciate that. Probably so satisfying using it, I'm going to cut too much off. Almost as good as pressure washing. We finished up the barberries here. Pretty quick, pretty easy, very satisfying. We still have a full charge on our battery. Let's try something a little bit different. Let's try something low to the ground and see how this works. The manual shears always work good for that, so I've got landscape stone in my flower beds. Some of these plants need to be cut off basically at ground level for winter. Let's see if we can do that with our HSA 56. That worked pretty good. This bar at the front you can kind of use to put on the ground, and there's no moving parts there, so you're not going to crunch up the stone. And then you can kind of pick up your bush or whatever you need to cut. And it's a lot nicer than the manual. The manual I had to go parallel to the ground, so I had to bend over, go on my knees, and kind of lift those up and chop them off. So this is saving a lot of time. Put that on the ground and kind of work your way through it. Works pretty good. Let's try out more of a grassy ground level thing. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. I'm gonna have to go more horizontal. Let's see how that works. So I just finished this flower bed. Low growing grassy flowers, bushes. And because it's so controlled, being electric, very low vibration, well balanced tool, you can get right at the ground level or the landscape rock level and nip those things off tight to the ground. I didn't crunch any rocks, things like that. Again, the end of it, if you kind of hang it down, you're able to use the end of it, and that's not moving, and make sure you don't dig into the dirt or the rocks. So definitely a full pass on low growing flowers and bushes, cutting them down for winter. Normally what I do here is leave them like that. I'll come with the backpack blower, blow them out into the grass, then use the bagger on the lawnmower to pick them up and dispose of them. But definitely just cutting them down here, I'm saving a bunch of time. With this HSA 56 hedge trimmer, I'm loving it. Let's keep going. Let's see how much battery we have left on it. Still a full charge. I've not noticed any decrease in performance. I've probably been using it about 20 minutes now, on and off, obviously, as I trim these up, but so far so good. I've saved the hardest for last. This limelight hydrangea grows like crazy every year, gets these big beautiful flowers, but now it's time to cut it back, and the branches get quite woody and large. We're at half battery capacity left. I've cut down all the rest of our plants for winter, so this is the most use I'm going to use on this. We've got plants all the way around the house and other flower beds, so more than average. Some people I'm sure have a lot more. I don't have a big hedgerow to do, but basically these individual bushes and plants. Again, this one battery's doing it for me. This is the highest use case of all year for me. The rest will be more maintenance cuts. So one battery, this AK10, is going to be enough for me. Well, let's see if it's got enough left to take on this limelight hydrangea. Well, I guess that question is answered. Took it down in no time. Still have half battery. What else could I cut? Well, I've been at it just under an hour and a half. Obviously not using, obviously I didn't have the trigger to press that whole hour and a half, but it did the job. Now it's time to put it away for winter, but I bought myself at least a couple hours of time using this over that hand shear. Let's pop the battery out, get that charged. So I recommend this to everybody. It's not the cheapest thing on the market, but it's not going to disappoint you. The worst case is you buy something that's cheap and it's a piece of junk. Stihl, for my money, is still a great value, even in this battery space. They're legendary for their 2-cycle engines, but they also make a very good electric product. For my money, you can't go wrong with it. There's other brands that have come out. They're all basically in line. Go look at the Stihl products. I think you'll be surprised at how affordable they truly are. This HSA 56 gives my full endorsement. It's an awesome machine. Again, you have to pay for it, but what you're buying is this, of course, but you're also buying time. How much is that worth? Thanks for watching. Adios. All right, it took a half hour to charge our AK-10 battery from half to full. So that's pretty good. Half hour, we'd be back in business with a full battery.